Welcome back to Chrisley Confessions 2.0.
Yes, we're getting back into the swing of things.
So how's it feel after Love After Lockup?
Really?
Oh, that's another show, right?
Yeah, that's another show that we're not on.
Oh, okay. I want to research that because I want to find out if their Love After Lockup is kind of like my Love After Lockup. Because I feel like you're a lot rougher now.
Todd, shut up. This is not what this is about today.
Okay, well then I'll just move on.
So as you can see, he hasn't changed at all.
So how are you today? Good. So
it's been crazy.
Well, yeah, because you've been having to get back in the swing of taking control of everything and running a house and making sure everything's done the way it's supposed to be done, getting kids. I mean, Grayson had surgery on his knee, so you had to deal with that. Yep. And for everyone out there who doesn't know, I have never done a drug, never smoked, taken alcohol or whatever. But
taken alcohol?
Or what is it called? Drinking alcohol. You know, I've never drank alcohol, but I am now roommates with Griselda. And otherwise known as Savannah Chrisley, who gave me a pinch of a sleeping pill because I had been up since 4 o'clock in the morning flying to Tampa to do a speaking engagement. And so she gave me a pinch of some little yellow pill to help me sleep. She knocked me out from 11 o'clock last night until 3:30 today.
Yeah.
She put my demons to sleep.
Yeah, and that's saying something.
Hey, you telling me? I'm just worried they've rested up and they're going to come back with a vengeance.
Grayson said, I had to leave for just a minute to go get his medicine. And he came back and he said, Mom, this is why I said you can't leave me with Dad. Well, yeah, because he was laid out on the floor, fell, and you were passed out.
He wasn't laid out on no floor.
He really was.
Well, he was told to keep his string being ass on that sofa.
Okay, well, he didn't.
And again, they don't want to listen. Well, then you know what? Let him crawl to the toilet then, because he was told to stay on the sofa. And you can't. How am I going to help him? I didn't even know I was in the world.
Exactly. That's what I mean. You're such a responsible parent.
You know, I went to prison for 28 months. I never had trouble sleeping. Maybe because I wasn't fighting with everybody. Because let me tell you something. The members of my mob, otherwise known as the Chrisley clan, they're the ones who have kept me awake all these years. It wasn't inmates.
Really is the truth, you know? I mean, I've actually talked to a few of the women that I was in prison with, that you know, they're already home, whatever. And we all have this general consensus that, and it's kind of weird to even say it.
No, it's not weird. Life is rougher than prison life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's a sad thing to say because it is so horrific, the conditions that you're there for.
Right.
But that's from a physical standpoint.
Yeah.
But from an emotional and psychological standpoint, it is harder dealing with day to day because...
Well, when you're in prison, you know that you don't have any control. You know that you cannot, there's very little you can do because you're in prison. So you can't, and people told me this when I first got there, you know, like, you can't live out there and in here at the same time because it'll literally run you crazy.
And that's the God's honest truth.
And it's the truth. And the longer you're there, the more removed you become to the world.
Well, you know, I've said that before, you know, about when you don't raise your children. When you're not present in their lives every day and it's a split custody or someone has sole custody and you get visitation, that one who gets visitation can detach and move on with their life.
I've said that too. The longer that people are away from their kids, as crazy as it sounds, because it's a double-edged sword, the easier it becomes because you get into your own routine. Right. Doesn't mean you don't miss them, you don't love them, all that. But just from me being in prison, I had to just watch out for me. Like, I had to take care of me. I had to make sure that I was as good as I could be. Right. Physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally. And that's all I could really do. Well, and so I think you get into that mode because that's how you kind of have to do to survive in there. And so coming back, and I think for us, listen, it was such a blessing to be able to come out and have a full unconditional pardon. Right. So we didn't have to go.
Thank you, President Trump.
Absolutely. We didn't have to go like to a halfway house. So we don't have to answer to a probation officer. You know, we're not limited as to where we can go and how we can move. So I think we were thrown right back into the real world.
Right.
which again causes me to something else that I really want to advocate for is there needs to be, for people that really need help, there needs to be that transition period to give people a chance to reacclimate back into society.
Well, I agree, but that's what the Bureau of Prisons calls a halfway house.
Right.
That's your acclimation.
Right.
That's not going to work.
Right.
I believe that getting someone to where they can acclimate back to the normal day-to-day structure of life, there does need to be a certain level of mental health component there.
Yeah.
To where someone can reach out to a therapist, or to where they can talk to someone and say, well, this just happened today. You know, the kids were doing this and that's not the way I did it before I left. Well, the kids' lives kept moving.
Yes.
Your life stopped.
Yes.
So you're still in the same place today, 5 years ago, that you were when you came in.
Right.
There now, it's the same thing with like technology with a phone or with a computer, or the way you order your food now, or when you go into a restaurant, you have to scan a code. You don't get a paper menu anymore.
Right.
Life keeps moving.
Yeah.
People that are incarcerated's life stays stuck on the day that they turn themselves in.
That's so true. And it is so true. And I am seeing that, every day. I mean, I can tell you that when I first got home, it was really hard. Like emotionally, it was a lot. It was like an emotional overload for me. I think
I was so ready for that because this is how sick I am. I mean, I do need to be in therapy clearly because I could not wait to get back to the dysfunction.
Right.
And I think that because, in the Bureau of Prisons, you get 300 minutes a month. You got 300 minutes a month.
Yeah.
Me, I was able to secure more than that.
Right. And so I didn't. So 300 minutes.
She's a rule follower.
300 minutes a month is 10 minutes a day, and that is not 10 minutes per child or 10 minutes for my mom and your mom and kid. It's just 10 minutes.
Right.
So there's very little that you can actually do and accomplish in 10 minutes a day.
Right.
And so you do get somewhat removed from life because of that. I'm not somewhat. You get a lot removed from life,
See, I think for me, and you and Savannah spoke about this, that she feels like that I bounced back much quicker than you did. That I've been able to jump right back in, and you have been kind of like testing the waters a little bit.
Right.
I think for me, my mindset was I was never in prison.
Right.
I was just in a shitty hotel.
Right.
And I did not allow prison to get into me. I did not start thinking that mentality.
I didn't allow prison to get into me, but I did live a certain way. Because mentally, I felt like I had to, I couldn't live every day like I was going home.
Right.
Because that was too much for me. It was too emotionally draining to think about every day.
But don't you think that's very consistent with the way you've always been in our marriage? I mean, I've always been, the glass is always running over.
Yes.
Yours
and I've
has always been
the realist.
Well, I don't know that
you say the glass half empty, but I say I've always been the realist.
Yeah, no,
I
don't just say that. Everyone says you are glass half empty.
No, it's not though. It's that I am a realist. You are this bigger than life dreamer, and you just see, okay, I want this and whatever, and I'm the one that's like, okay, but this is what you have to do to get that, and this is what it costs, and this is what the time involved, and this is this, and kind of reel you back in it a little bit. And I'm not saying reel you back in because I control you, because that's obviously not the case at all. But I do feel like I bring a certain level of level-headedness to the relationship.
Well, then maybe we should change the name of the podcast to Dream Snatcher 2.0.
No, that's not the case.
I just feel like that, you've always been, and I believe that some of it was intentional. I believe you've always been, I don't know that you can do that. because you felt like in your mind, you was mind screwing me, that if I make him think he can't do it, then he will do it.
That's not true. That's not true. That is totally not true.
You really don't think that?
No.
Okay, so prime example. How many times have you ever asked me for something?
Right, but now I don't even ask you. I learned that early on in our marriage because if I got to the point where I couldn't even say, oh, I like that. Because just because I say, oh, I like that, doesn't mean I expect you to go out and buy it.
And said,
And you internalize that as, well, I said, oh, I like that car, or oh my God, I love that ring. That doesn't mean I want you to go out and buy it. It just means I like it.
But in my interpretation was, you're letting me know that this is what you want.
And so now I don't do that. I mean, I haven't done that in a long time, just because I know that that's how you I mean, we've been together a long time, so I kind of know how you operate now.
So then you don't want the whips and chains that you were talking about.
You know, really, why do you always have to go down that road?
I just don't want to go buy this stuff if you're not serious about it.
We're not even going there.
Okay, then. So Savannah and I left and went to Tampa yesterday morning.
Yes.
4 a.m., folks, I was up.
Oh, so was I. Because you know what? In our household, if Todd is up, everybody's up.
What is the problem with that? I'm getting up.
I didn't do that to you, though. I don't do that to you. If I have to get up.
What if that's the last time you get to see me?
Okay, well.
I'm getting on a plane.
It is. But you do it every time. If you have to get up,
because I want you to view me one more time.
Our entire marriage, I have been the one to get up before you get up, 99% of the time.
And how does that make you feel to know that you have that title?
But the 1% of the time that you get up, you're going to always make sure that I'm up.
Well, because I want to talk to you.
No, because you can't stand the thoughts of it. Even though our children went all through school, you never took them to school.
I always felt like that was overrated. I was not a carpool dad. I didn't believe in all that. I mean, I felt like I felt like you should do that because, I mean, all the moms did that.
Now, there's dads that do it too.
Well, those were the dads that were whipped.
No, it's not true.
We didn't have that going on in our house.
Oh my gosh, that's not true.
I don't Kroger, I don't Publix, I don't Whole Foods, and I don't carpool. And jail did not change that for me. I ain't doing none of the above still. But what I'm saying is that we went to Tampa to this speaking engagement.
Turning Point USA.
Yes. And it was my first time in front of a crowd that large.
Was it?
Yes.
Well, I thought you did something else.
No, I did the press conference. That was nothing.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, that was 150 people.
Yeah.
This was thousands of people.
Right.
And I did not have any anxiety about going on stage. But it was my first time in front of that many people again.
Right.
And I say God was with us. God's been with us every step of the way throughout this whole process. But God was so prevalent yesterday in doing this, because Savannah took the stage. And I have to say that, since the show since Chrisley Knows Best aired for the first time, everyone gravitated towards the show. I mean, the show became a huge success. Mm-hmm. And as the show kept building year after year after year, we all kind of fell into our spot.
Right.
Who was going to play this role? Who was going to play that role?
Right.
And the world took me as this dad who had zero tolerance for any bullshit, and that I was going to call it out, whether it be with the way you were dressing, your attitude, all of that.
Yeah.
And that made me I'm not saying this is what the press has said, a larger than life personality.
Right.
For the first time since we've been on television, I go to this event and I realize that Savannah has stepped into that role.
Yeah.
Because everyone was gravitating towards her.
And I saw that too, because remember when we first got home, I went to the event with her in Dallas. It was a Turning Point
that's right.
event.
I forgot about that.
I did that first, and absolutely. I mean, she's
a rock star.
She's a rock star. She owns it.
Yes, and so many political figures were there, and they were coming up, meeting her and shaking her hand. Great job, and then turning to me and saying, "You got a warrior here. You've got a warrior here." And I had a friend say, "Well, how does that make you feel?" And I says, "Amazing."
Yeah.
Because how I've always felt about television anyway.
Right.
After doing it for about 3 years, I was like, done.
Yeah.
And you would always say, well, Todd, we have to go another season. You know, we have to get Savannah situated for the clothing line. We have to get her situated for the cosmetic line. You know, Chase has got this going on. And I would always fight and say, I don't want to do this anymore. I look back now and I think, okay, this moment right here is what Julie was talking about every time when it came up for renewal of contracts, when I said, I don't want to do this anymore. It was for this moment.
Right.
Because to watch her take that stage, she owned it.
Yeah.
To see the caliber of people that were coming up to her and wanting to talk to her and exchange contacts, and, you know, them saying, we really want you to run for a public office. We really want you to do this. And I'm sitting here thinking about it and to myself, and I'm like, this is the moment that I've really been searching for. It was never the larger than life personality moment. It was the moment as a dad who gets to see his daughter step into a room that she has shattered the glass ceiling on.
Yeah. Yeah, she owns it.
And I was so proud of her for that. So proud. Now, I say that, you know, to coin a phrase from Robert F. Kennedy, you know, when he said, I accompanied Jackie to wherever it was because she was such a huge success, I felt like Robert Kennedy yesterday because I carried Savannah's bag everywhere we went.
Was it Robert Kennedy?
John F. Kennedy. I'm sorry, yeah. John F. Kennedy. Thank you for correcting me on that.
Sorry.
It's Griselda's leftovers up here is what's going on.
Okay.
But I carried her bag everywhere we went because everyone, you need to know that when Savannah travels, what is considered a normal handbag is a suitcase to anyone else who is normal.
Well, she keeps some extra shoes, and she might have an outfit in there. You never know.
She had shoes in there. She had champagne gummies in there. She had everything that you could need. She has a survival kit in her purse.
Yeah, and it weighs 100 pounds.
And it weighs 100 pounds. So I had to carry that for her everywhere we went. But going through the airport in Tampa, going through the airport here in Nashville, and how kind and courteous and polite everyone was.
Right.
Was such a God-felt moment for me.
Yeah.
And
because you do have those moments, or I did, you know, thinking, okay, when we were pardoned, yes, you know, again, thank you, President Trump.
Thank you, God. Thank you, President Trump.
But you do wonder, like, how people are going to receive you, how people, you know, just how it's going to be. Is it going to be weird, or is there going to be people that, you know, because there are people who don't agree that we should have gotten a pardon, and that's okay. That's their opinion.
I don't agree with what they wear every day either.
So you do wonder, but for the most part, I would say people have been really nice.
I would say
people have come up to me and
I've had not
said,
one negative
yeah,
interaction.
can I hug you? You know, we have prayed for you. We have prayed for your entire family. You know, Savannah has killed it.
This woman grabbed me off the train yesterday in Tampa and threw her arms around me and kissed me. And she said, I am so happy you're home. You have no, just weeping. Aww. She says, I have wanted this moment. I have prayed for this moment so much.
Yeah, I have had people.
And so we have had so many prayer warriors.
And just people, I've been in the grocery store, and, you know, people just come up and not make a big deal, but it's like, I've prayed for you guys.
I was out at the front. I was at the front gate of the house the other day, and I was talking to the landscapers. And this guy comes by on a truck, and, you know, my back was to the street, and he lets his window down. He goes, Chase, tell your dad that I am so happy. And I turned around.
Oh, that made your day.
It did. I turned. He goes, oh crap, Mr. Chrisley, I thought you were Chase. And I said, well, I'll take that as a compliment.
Yeah.
He said, I just want to tell you how grateful I am for you and your family to be home. This was such a bullshit case to begin with, and I am grateful for you being home. Those are the moments that I'm having.
Yeah.
And I say that that's God.
Yeah.
And, you know, yes, I mean, if you sit online and you start reading, you know, all the leftist comments, you know, it's baffling to me because I don't believe that we as personalities, I think we contribute to the separation of the red and the blue if we don't say exactly how we feel in our hearts.
Right.
It's so easy to be antagonized by someone that you give back that negative energy. And that's a commitment that I've made that I'm not doing anymore.
Right.
I'm not going to feed that because so many of these people that don't agree with the pardon, it's not that they're against us because they're fans of the show.
Right.
They're against the president that gave us the pardon.
Right.
And so I look at so many of these brands that want to separate themselves because they're so leaning left that if they want to go right, but if they go right, they alienate the left. Mm-hmm. Folks, Democrats and Republicans alike use toilet paper. We eat red meat. We're all doing the same thing. So if you are going from a biblical standpoint that we're all created equal.
Right. But some people, it's really crazy. I mean, you had it happen to you
with a landscaper here.
I mean, that's crazy to me.
Yes, who said, Mr. Chrisley, I think you would be better served with. I'd left a message about coming and doing some landscape work for us to get the gardens and stuff in shape, and.
I know a landscaper that worked with us before.
Yep. And he called back and said, I think that you would be better served with someone who leans more in your political leanings or whatever. And I said, well, I thank you very much for acknowledging that. You have a blessed day.
But how crazy is that? I would never turn away business.
Right.
Now, I have been in real estate. I've been a real estate broker for many years. First of all, I'm not going to ask you what your affiliation is. I'm not going to ask, are you a Democrat
when you're
or
out
Republican?
here in a bar or in a restaurant and you meet a hot chick, the first thing that you're looking at is not what her voting registration is.
But more, not even that. I'm not concerned with that. But if I'm out here trying to make money, mm-hmm. I'm not going to, I don't care who you vote for.
I just feel like,
I think it's just crazy.
Right,
That's crazy to me that I would say, I'm sorry, I don't want to take your money because you voted because you're a Republican or because you're a Democrat. That's crazy to me.
Well, I think that, because you and I don't agree on everything.
No.
I mean, we agree on the majority of things, but we don't agree on everything.
Right.
And that has never even crossed my mind that because we don't agree on this, that maybe this is the end of our marriage. Or
right.
that
or the end of a friendship.
Right.
Some of my dearest friends in this world are Democrats. Mm-hmm. And I love them with my heart and soul. Mm-hmm. I trust my children with them. Whatever. I would never think about not being friends with them because of their political affiliation.
That's right.
I respect them. I respect their views. And as I've said to my kids, if everybody in your circle thinks and believes the same, you're in the wrong circle.
Absolutely.
Like I said this, if you're the smartest person in the circle, you're in the wrong circle. Mm-hmm. If you're the richest person in the circle, you're in the wrong circle. Mm-hmm. But I feel that way. Like what makes us who we are as a country is the fact that we are all different.
That's right.
That we bring different things to the table. And I love to hear someone who has a different perspective than me. Like, tell me, there may be something that I take from that conversation that makes me think a little different sometimes.
And it makes you better.
We all get like in our own little tunnel vision where we just see things exactly the way we want to see them. Mm-hmm. And I don't ever want to be that way.
Well, I think that, and I agree with exactly what you said. At Turning Point yesterday, Savannah made a statement that she knows what the Bible says, and that she does not believe that we, meaning people that are in the political arena, should be determining whether or not you can love this person or that or whatever.
Right.
She is a staunch Republican. We all are. But at the end of the day, Savannah's beliefs are, and she's very, very clear on that love who you love.
Right.
Be respectful about who you love. And do not allow the way that you love to infringe upon other people's beliefs.
Right.
And I thought about that, and I thought, okay, all right. Because that gave me something else to think about.
Right. And
that was a trigger moment for me.
Right, because I agree with her on that.
Right.
I really do.
And I believe love who you love.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, I think politics should be solely about the running of the American country, the United States.
It should be,
and we
but
should
it's
not be. We should not be stepping our toe over into. You can't be with this person. You can't be with that person, or this person's not allowed to be here. As I said yesterday, I don't believe you should be in this country illegally.
Right.
there are processes that are in place that you should have to follow. We as a people of the United States of America, we are supposed to be, we have the Statue of Liberty, open arms, welcoming you to our country for a better life. And I believe that we owe that to any person coming from another country that's fleeing a nation of oppression and apartheid and abuse. But you have to do it the right way.
Yeah.
Because then we want you to be here because we want to wrap our arms around you, or we should as a country and as a whole of one people. Because at the end of the day, no matter what continent you're on, we are all of one people. We are all God's children.
Yeah.
And so the whole thing with the deportation and all that was brought up yesterday, if you are not here legally, then you should not be here.
Right.
But we also, as people of the United States of America, we also have to be humane about how we do things too.
Yes. Yes, I agree.
And we also have to, I know what it's like.
And I think it's always this like constant push and pull. It's always this slippery slope.
Because someone always wants to be right and someone has to be wrong.
And someone always wants to be either all the way over here or all the way over here and not really like
down the middle.
Giving and taking in the middle.
But we've talked about this with so many people in the political arena. I do believe that our country is more down the middle. I believe we have more down the middle than we do hard left, hard right.
We have more down the middle, but people won't be vocal about it.
Because of fear of being ostracized.
Yes.
For the fear of being cut off, from contracts
Canceled.
and the cancel culture. Exactly.
Yeah, it still exists to a certain degree. It's transitioned the cancel culture from what it was a few years ago even, but it's still there. It's still very prevalent.
Well, I was told last week that one of the brands that did a lot of business with us because of the pardon will not do business with us.
Right.
And I laughed and I said, now think about this. I said, we brought them tens of millions of dollars, but they're willing to walk away from that because they hate President Trump
That's crazy. That's crazy. Because I'm going to tell you right now, I ain't never hated the president to cut my check.
Listen. Never. I don't even hate my ex-wife, and I do hate her, but I don't even hate her enough for her to cut into my check.
No, I'm not doing that. That's just crazy to me. Maybe, I don't know. It is very,
it's insane.
Very crazy.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Well, I want to kind of get into, because there's so many questions that I'm getting on social media and on my Instagram about how do you feel coming home and Nick is not there. Right. So I want to kind of save that for the next one, because I think it's going to take a lot more time on that topic.
Right.
Let's talk a little bit about some of the things that are in the tabloids now.
Right.
Some of the things that bother you. What are some of those topics?
They don't bother me.
Not really bother you, but like when you look.
You know me, I have never been affected. I'm not one to like delve into this like black hole of comments, of all that. I've never done that since day one with the show. You know that out of everybody in the family.
You did not.
I've never been one to do that. I know who I am. I know what I believe. I know what I'm about. I know that I'm a good person. And that's what it is. Now, was there a horrible picture that came out of me? Yeah. But you know what? The way I flip that is look at me now.
Right.
People think I look even better because that horrible picture was out there to begin with.
Listen, I will say you set the bar low. You had to go nowhere but up. You had to go nowhere but up.
Now, that wasn't very nice.
I'm just trying to be honest. That's what we have here, Chrisley Confessions 2.0. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to lie. When I first saw you, when I got out of that car, I started thinking about going back. But then I thought, let me embrace this. This is a moment.
Are you kidding me right now?
Well, I mean, it was a rough moment. It was a rough moment because I'd never seen you dark in my life. Julie, 30 years, I've never seen you with dark hair.
Well, I know that, Todd, but I didn't have any choice. I mean, I didn't have a choice.
I understand. I mean, I had a nasty ass warden, Sherry Salisbury, the whole time. But I mean, she even came to me and said, "It's in the press that you're concerned about your gray hair. I can get you hair color." I'm like, "No, I'm good." But you did partake in hair color.
Yeah, so I did. So for people who are asking about that picture, when I went to prison, my hair was blonde, but it had a lot of lowlights in it. Tyler had put a lot of lowlights in my hair before I self-surrendered. Mm-hmm. And then we actually had a girl that was there at the prison when I got there. Her name was Melissa. She worked in the salon, and she was really good. And she did highlights for me. I mean, and they looked, when I tell you they looked so good, it looked like I'd been to a salon on the outside.
And let me guess, she's one of the first people that got out.
And then she left. I got there in January, right? January 23. She left in March. So she did my hair one time before she left. So then I was like, what am I going to do? Well, you have box hair color. Even though there is a quote unquote salon, it is a box hair color that you buy in the commissary and then you get your hair done. So I started growing out and it was so gray. And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? So I just put the brown on my hair to cover up the gray. So I did that for a long time. I did that for probably a year and a half or so, maybe. And then, like I've said, in my mind, I was like, okay, I'm going home in August of 26. So I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to color my hair anymore. I'm just going to let it grow. And I did have a girl there, Princess, who cut my hair. So she would keep it trimmed. I said, I'm not going to color my hair anymore. And then by the time I leave, all this color will be growing off my hair and it'll make it easier for Tyler to fix it. Mm-hmm. And in my mind, that's what I was going to do. I was just letting it grow. And everybody, even my friends there, were like, you need to do something with your hair. I was like, I don't care. I'm letting it grow out so that when I get home.
So even these chicks in prison acknowledge you need to do something with that.
Because
situation.
Everybody thought I should be blonde, but it was really hard to be good blonde in prison, and especially when you have gray like what I have. So I needed to put color on my hair and then a highlight. Well, that was a little too much for prison. Like you're asking a lot from a box hair color. So that's why it was that color.
Well, listen, I'm glad.
And then I wasn't going out. I wasn't going to go out. Savannah's the one. Mama, I want you to go to this butcher.
Griselda.
I want you to go to the butcher with me. So what did I do? I went with her. And she's like, they're not going to. I guess she thinks they weren't concerned about me, so they probably weren't going to get a picture of me. Well, we all know they did. And I admit, I look crazy.
Listen, they got
but
me.
Now, see, people think when they see me, oh my God, you look so good. And I'm thinking, yeah, because you saw that picture of me.
We were laying in bed, and I'm going to try to find this video for you folks, and I hope that we'll be able to get it on this episode. There was a video the other night that we were laying in bed with this woman narrating, and she had the picture of me at the top and then you below.
No, we're not putting that out there.
I'm going to put that out there.
Of course, he's so
it was the funniest.
Self-serving. No, you're self-serving because they're
right.
like, Todd Chrisley leaves prison and he looks like he's been to a spa. Julie Chrisley leaves prison and she looks tired and haggard.
No, that's not what they said.
Blah, blah, blah,
Let me
blah,
tell you
blah.
something. This was the funniest clip. She has this picture of me at the top and coming out of prison. Then she has Julie, and she goes, I am so glad the Chrisleys are home, but can we just take a moment? And she goes, this, Todd Chrisley looks like he came out of a spa, and blah, 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 blah. He's got the glow up. This, Julie had the real prison sentence. She had to Shawshank.
See, you would want that. You would want that because it's so self-serving to you.
But Julie, you were laying there. You were like, I don't give a shit.
I don't.
But it was the funniest thing.
No, it's not funny, but it is what it is. But you know what? It gives people something to talk about.
Exactly. But my whole point is that it's tabloid. Yeah. It's social media. And that,
you're watching it.
If you think you're hurting my feelings, you're not. Because some of the shit y'all say is actually funny. And I love good humor. So when she called out that you had the Shawshank version, I thought that was funny and busted out laughing.
There were days I felt like I was in Shawshank. So yeah, probably true. When it was this time of the year, July of 23 of 24, I probably felt like I was Shawshank because it was 120 degrees in there and you couldn't get comfortable.
Well, I'm the one who literally was like, feel like that I was Andy Dufresne without the scene because I was plotting to take the warden down the whole time that I was there.
Oh my God.
So Andy took the warden down in Shawshank. I took Sherry Salisbury down at FPC Pensacola. At any rate, let's just touch on one more thing and then we'll call it a day for this episode. People have reported that you and I are divorcing.
Yes.
How does that make you feel?
Again, it does not.
I know it doesn't affect you.
It doesn't affect me. I can honestly tell you, I'm like, whatever, because that is so not true. There is no truth whatsoever to that. And like, okay, if that's what you think is going to sell something, but
I think that people really
like, time is a healer and a revealer. And so
Amen.
when you go, okay, we're 30 years in now, 31 since we've been together. Okay, so 5 years from now, 10 years from now, whatever, we're still going to be together. Right. So guess what? I don't really care. I mean, it doesn't. I don't know. I don't even think about it.
I don't care what people say.
Yeah, I know it did bother you at the beginning.
It did, because that, you know how I feel about our marriage and our children.
Yes.
So those are really the only two hot buttons you have with me.
Right.
You calling me gay, you're saying that, I've had a million boyfriends in prison, that's low hanging fruit.
Right.
You're grabbing at something that has never happened, that has never been alleged to have happened, except for that one piece of shit that, robbed us blind. So that doesn't bother me. But when you come at what is most sacred to me, which is my marriage and my children, then you will walk over, but you will crawl back. So there's still old Todd down in here. There's enough old Todd down in here that I will drag you. And if that doesn't work, I will sue you. If you put out a false story and you're sitting here, because you're not a journalist, you're a blogger. You don't have journalistic privilege.
Right.
That's already been established in the lawsuit that we filed against the other journalists that had to retract the things that they had said.
Right.
So if you put something out there about me and my family, we will sue you. We're going to sue you. So I think that for me, that was because it hit at the core of the thing I hold most sacred.
Right.
There was a story that came out last week, Todd and Julie Chrisley, frantic over all their legal expenses. We don't owe any legal expenses. All of our legal bills were paid as we went along.
Right.
But see, that's them making up stories to get a click because our name pays their power bill.
Right.
So I don't care about that. We owe no one, so we don't have to worry about that. But I will tell you, we owe no one, but there are many that owe us, and we're coming after you.
The one thing that I want to talk about that was in the tabloids was they said that I faked my breast cancer.
I saw that.
And that is the craziest thing because what people don't realize is I was diagnosed with breast cancer March of 2012.
At 39 years old.
This was before this happened. We found out that this was going on when it really came to a head was in July of 2012 when your father had passed away and we were in South Carolina taking care of the arrangements. Was one of the very first phone calls that we got. I had already been diagnosed with breast cancer.
Right.
I was completing my treatment at that time. But the thing is that someone would think that I would ever fake a breast cancer diagnosis. I have had the pleasure of meeting so many amazing, wonderful women who have fought the breast cancer fight. And that to me is so disrespectful that people would say, a tabloid would say that I had, and I don't even know what they thought. Obviously, it did. If that's something I was going to do, it didn't help because I went to prison.
Right.
But I went to prison 11 years later. So it had nothing. It didn't even make sense.
But listen, it's not about that. Nothing that they write.
Right.
Makes sense.
I think they were, and I don't know if maybe I remember when we were first sentenced and designated. I was designated by the Bureau of Prisons to go to Marianna in Florida. And then at the last minute, they changed it to Lexington. And the tabloids, I remember when that happened, they thought that I was going to a medical facility. Well, FMC Lexington is a federal medical center, but that's for the men. the women, the camp, the satellite camp is not a medical facility.
Right.
It is a working camp.
Right.
And I think people don't understand that. Even judges don't understand it, because they send women to that camp all the time that have serious medical issues, and they tell them, well, I'm going to send you to Lexington so that you can get the help that you need. It's not a medical facility for women. So I remember back in the day, there was like a couple of articles about that. Was, something wrong with me, or was I saying something was wrong with me again to get there?
But again, it was just to sell. It was just to sell clicks.
Right. But I would never.
Why would you even care saying I would never?
Right.
I don't give a shit.
Right.
Well, you know it's a lie.
But I have said, I have witnessed, I had a dear friend Lisa, who lost her battle with breast cancer. We were diagnosed around the same time. And I just find it so irreverent, and I find it so disrespectful.
But it's a tabloid blogger, not a journalist. This is somebody who literally...
That is not something that I would ever...
I would rather say that I am a convicted felon than to say that I am a journalist in today's journalistic poll.
For most of them, that's for sure.
I mean, I literally, you've got a handful of people that still adhere to the journalistic code of making sure you verify your sources, making sure that you know that what you're getting ready to report is accurate and factual. Right. And then those individuals will come back and say, my bad, I got this wrong.
Right.
Let me correct this.
Right.
But now there's such a free range of people that's allowed to say whatever they want, and they have no consequence. Right. You will have a consequence with us. Right. So, I was on the phone with attorneys last week, as you know, going after 3 different individuals for the things that they have reported. Mm-hmm. So if you report something about us, you better make sure that it's factual. You better make sure that it's true, because journalistic privilege you do not have. So with that being said, I hope that we've addressed some of those.
Yes.
And as they come up, we'll continue to address them as they come up. Right. But to end that, how are you today after being home now for what? I mean, May 28th is when we came home?
May 28th. So not quite 2 months yet.
So how do you feel after almost 2 months?
Every day gets better.
Right.
Every day gets a little bit better. And as I said, I talked to several women who I was in prison with, and they said, Julie, it took me 6 months. It took me a year to even feel like I was even back, even a tiny bit of what I was before I went. So I'm happy. I'm happy with the progress that I feel like I'm making. I'm continuing to make every day. And I'm just grateful.
Oh, God, there is one tabloid story that I want to talk about that
What's
I want to address. During the press conference, I had stated that we are doing a hotel.
Yeah.
And that it's going to be near Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah.
Well, there was a story, I guess Patricia Altschul made a comment. She was asked about her thoughts about the Chrisleys moving to Charleston, South Carolina.
Yeah.
And she said, well, there goes the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Now, I've never had an issue with Patricia. Patricia is on, Southern Charm. She's on Southern Charm. I've always held her in high regard.
Yes.
I always thought she was a classy lady.
Yeah.
This is a woman that's in her 80s. She could be my mother.
Yeah.
And she made that statement. And I got so many people messaging me, with the story, and can you believe she said this? I'm going to go back and do this. And I said, please don't.
Right.
Please don't go back on this old lady. I mean, do not do that. I said, because at the end of the day, she's old. She's already, according to the tabloids, transferred her assets over to her son. I guess she's getting ready for death, because they ain't getting our shit until the day I die. But that was a little shocking. Not that Patricia's going to keep me out of Charleston, South Carolina.
Right.
Patricia should know that you and I are born and reared in in South Carolina.
Right.
We're South Carolinians.
Right. Not Charleston, but we were born and raised in South Carolinians.
And she is not. And she doesn't need to worry about how I make my money. Because at this age, I could end up marrying someone like Patricia and take her money. Because that's kind of what she did and kind of how she made her money. So at the end of the day, I don't dislike her. She's just playing a role that's been in the book of securing wealth since the beginning of time. A younger woman marries an older man, he dies, she gets the money. So maybe I'll become Patricia's walker. Maybe I'll be the man that actually, maybe her son has to worry about me inheriting her money. So with that being said, that story is now out there too. Yes. So on that note, we'll end it with good luck, God bless, from all of our homes to yours.
Yes, and don't forget to subscribe wherever you get your podcast, Chrisley Confession 2.0.